Welcome to the DOGE Diaries, diving deep into government efficiency. Excited to explore the potential of, well, let's just say, disruptive innovation in the public sector. It's going to be a fascinating ride.
Yeah, I'm here to keep things grounded. I want to understand how all this talk of disruption translates into actual benefits for regular folks. Are we talking lower taxes, better services, or just more headaches?
And I'm here to provide a healthy dose of skepticism. Our established systems have safeguards for a reason. Efficiency is great, but not if it comes at the cost of stability and fairness.
Right. Stability is good. But what if stability is just stagnation in disguise? What if the status quo is actively harming people? That's what I'm interested in exploring.
Well, speaking of harming people, did you see that article about Trump's firings at the FTC potentially upending a 90-year-old Supreme Court ruling? How's that efficiency for you? Sounds more like, well, let's just say it sounds worrying.
Exactly. Humphrey's executor is a cornerstone of ensuring the independence of regulatory agencies. Undermining that precedent could have disastrous consequences. It opens the door to politicizing these agencies, making them mere extensions of the executive branch.
But hold on, isn't the argument that these agencies, as they exist today, wield too much unchecked power? The Justice Department seems to think so. Maybe this is about reining in that power and making them more accountable.
Accountable to whom? The people or billionaires like Musk, Zuckerberg, and Bezos, who Bedoya is accusing of benefiting from these firings? That's what I want to know.
That's a valid concern, Otto. The FTC is supposed to protect consumers from unfair business practices. If its independence is compromised, who will hold these powerful corporations accountable?
Okay, but let's think bigger picture here. Maybe these regulatory structures are so outdated that they're actually hindering innovation and progress. Maybe streamlining them, even if it means challenging established precedents, is necessary to unlock new possibilities.
Innovation for whom, though? I'm seeing a trend here where innovation seems to mostly benefit the already wealthy and powerful. What about the average Joe who just wants affordable healthcare and a fair shake?
And it's not just about billionaires. Overturning Humphrey's executor could destabilize the Federal Reserve. Law professors are warning that a president could pressure the Fed to prioritize short-term economic gains over long-term price stability, potentially causing lasting harm to the economy.
But isn't that what's already happening? Politicians constantly meddling in the Fed's affairs. Maybe shaking things up is the only way to force a real conversation about monetary policy and its impact on the average citizen.
Yeah, and what about the little things? I saw Charlie Sheen's daughter is upset about some plastic surgery results. How is government efficiency going to help her? Or is it just focused on the big shots?
Otto, with all due respect, I don't think the government is going to start subsidizing plastic surgery anytime soon. Let's focus on things that affect the broader population.
Well, even in a highly efficient and streamlined government, you might still want to regulate marketing practices that lead to unrealistic expectations about physical appearance, particularly when it comes to young people. But in this case, I don't see that connection. More broadly, though.
Okay, fair enough. But back to the FTC thing. I mean, it's scary to think that consumer protections could be weakened just to benefit a few powerful individuals. That's not the kind of efficiency I want to see.
And it's not just the FTC. This could set a precedent for the president to fire members of any independent agency that doesn't align with their political agenda. That's a slippery slope towards authoritarianism.
Or it's a bold move towards greater accountability. Maybe these agencies have become too insulated from the democratic process. Maybe they're operating without sufficient oversight. I mean, if they're not, shouldn't they welcome greater scrutiny?
Oversight, sure, but not a political hit job disguised as efficiency. There's a difference.
Exactly. It's about checks and balances, Otto. It's about ensuring that no single branch of government becomes too powerful.
But what if those checks and balances are actually hindering progress? What if they're creating gridlock and preventing us from addressing pressing societal challenges? I mean, look at the Senate, constantly in gridlock.
Okay, but what about defense spending? I saw an article about how Musk's DOGE is pushing the Pentagon to cut back. Is that a good thing or a bad thing? I mean, we need a strong military, right?
That's a complex issue. Of course, we need a strong military, but we also need to be responsible with taxpayer dollars. There's undoubtedly waste and inefficiency in the defense budget, but cutting too deeply could compromise national security.
Yes, and isn't the entire industry built on waste? I mean, the number of unused weapons systems and failed projects, It's staggering. It's entirely possible to dramatically reduce spending and increase our defensive capabilities by focusing on smarter, more efficient technologies.
But who decides what's smarter? Is it the military experts or Elon Musk? I mean, he's a smart guy, but is he qualified to make decisions about national security?
That's the key question. Expertise matters. We need informed decision making, not just impulsive cost cutting measures.
But doesn't the fact that we're even having this conversation represent progress? We're finally questioning the sacred cow of defense spending. We're finally asking whether we can get more bang for our buck. This conversation is important.
I guess so, but I still worry about the human cost. Cutting defense spending could mean job losses for a lot of people, especially veterans.
That's a legitimate concern, Otto. We need to ensure that any cuts are implemented responsibly and that workers are provided with retraining and job placement assistance.
And maybe those veterans can transition to building the future instead of the past. Think of the skills they possess. They could be instrumental in developing clean energy technologies, infrastructure projects, something better. This is a win-win.
Okay, but getting back to this DOGE thing. I saw another article about a Senate panel waiting on DOGE to call them about AI-fueled efficiencies. Sounds like a bit of a disconnect, doesn't it?
A disconnect is an understatement. The Senate Homeland Security Committee is actively trying to find bipartisan solutions to improve government efficiency using AI, and they can't even get a call back from DOGE. That's just irresponsible.
Well, maybe they're just playing hard to get. I mean, sometimes you have to create a little suspense to get people's attention. It's like when someone ghosts you and suddenly you want them more. I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but the game is the game, as they say.
Yeah, but this isn't a dating game, it's the government. We're talking about taxpayer money and the well-being of millions of people. This isn't the time for games.
Exactly. This lack of transparency is deeply troubling. How can we have an informed public debate about government efficiency when one of the key players is refusing to engage with Congress?
But what if they're working on something so revolutionary that they don't want to reveal it prematurely? What if they're preparing to unveil a comprehensive plan that will blow everyone's minds? Sometimes you have to be secretive to protect your ideas.
Oh, come on. This isn't some secret invention. It's the government. Everything should be open and transparent.
I agree with Otto on this one. Openness and transparency are essential for accountability. The public has a right to know what their government is doing, especially when it involves potentially disruptive changes.
Okay, fair enough. But let's at least give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe they're just overwhelmed. I mean, trying to overhaul the entire federal government is a massive undertaking. Maybe they just need more time to get their act together.
Maybe. But in the meantime, people are losing their jobs, agencies are being destabilized, and consumer protections are being threatened. That's a pretty high price to pay for potential efficiencies.
And it's not just about the immediate consequences. These actions could have long-term implications for the stability and integrity of our institutions.
But isn't the long-term goal to create a better system? A more efficient, more responsive, more equitable system? Maybe these short-term disruptions are necessary to achieve that goal. You have to break a few eggs to make an omelet, right?
Yeah, but who's eating the omelet? That's what I always want to know. Is it just the wealthy elite or is it everyone?
And are we sure the omelet is even worth it? Maybe we're sacrificing too much for the promise of a future that may never materialize. Incremental improvements might be a safer, more sustainable approach.
But incrementalism hasn't exactly gotten us a better government. It feels like it's just created more and more layers of bureaucracy. Maybe, just maybe, a radical shakeup is precisely what we need.
I still think we need a clear plan, clear oversight, and clear benefits for the average person. Otherwise, all this talk of efficiency is just empty rhetoric.
I agree. We need to ensure that government efficiency is achieved in a way that is responsible, transparent, and equitable. It's a delicate balancing act, but it's crucial for the long-term health of our democracy.
And perhaps one day, we will look back on this period as the moment we finally dared to question the status quo and embrace a new paradigm of government. This could be amazing. I really mean it.
We'll see. I hope so. But I'll be watching closely to make sure it really does benefit everyone, not just a select few.
As will I. The American system needs continuous, measured improvement. It's the best system, and we need to preserve what makes it great.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us on the DOGE Diaries.